Welcome to the Wandering Stitches Knitting Podcast. My name is Jess, and I have Josie here with me. And we'd like to welcome you to my little corner of YouTube. And this is where I combine my love of knitting and hiking and share my crafty adventures with you. So I hope you have your crafty project with you. You can sit back and relax and just let me keep you company while you work on your project. And I will chat with you about what I did this week. So let's get started. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you stopping by, and if you are a returning viewer, I super appreciate you coming back and spending your time with me. If you are your first time checking this out, I hope you enjoy the content. I hope you find some inspiration and can just sit back and relax. Like I said, I am just going to talk a little bit about my knitting, show you some projects, and I went on a camping trip with my family, so I'll show you a little bit of footage of that and tell you about it. So you can find me on Wandering Stitches on Instagram, and you can also find me on Ravelry at My Knitted Brow, and that is where I like to catalog my projects. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share button, and if you do leave a comment, I will reply back. And I super appreciate the community and the support. And of course, if you have any feedback, I am certainly open to feedback as to how I can make this podcast better, as far as my presentation and what you experience here. So I will get into my knitting. I do have a finished project that is part 2 of the project that I had finished and showed in my last episode. So the first project that I showed in last week's episode was this hat, and I made this for my knitting friend Corinne, and I had made this with the Goosed Spruce yarn from Good Karma Yarn, and this was hand spun by Wool is Y, and this was just left over from another project that I had done, Upton Yarns, and I believe Sarah, actually, I looked her up, I believe she is now living in Germany. So we had decided that since we're both knitters, it's pretty rare for us to receive knitted gifts because we're always either knitting for others or for ourselves, and so we thought we'd do a knitted exchange. So I made her a hat, and I had enough yarn to make myself a hat, and I did a little bit of, if you can tell, a little different color variation, same yarns but just different orders of the stripes, and so we'll be matchy when we go hiking and knitting together. This is a pattern that I got out of the Stitch and Bitch Knitter's Handbook, and this is a pattern, if you've seen previous episodes, this is a pretty common hat that I do. And so the book says that the hat could be done in 2 hours, and we drove down to New Jersey, and so it was a long drive, and I was like, okay, this is when I'm going to get this hat done in 2 hours, because typically it takes me a good 4 hours to make this. I did not do it in 2 hours, even as I just sat there. I guess I tend to either just, I don't know, get easily distracted. So I got this done in 4 hours, but I still got it done, and here it is. So Hothead by Alex Zorn. This is in the Stitch and Bitch Handbook. It's great for beginners. It is knit flat, and you knit on, let's see, I think it's size 10.5 needles, so they're nice and thick. Worsted weight, held double or bulky yarn. And so like I said, you knit flat and it's 2x2 rib, and you seam up the back, and you do a couple, like 4 rows of decreases, and it's a hat. And I had mentioned in previous episodes that I had knit one for somebody whose birthday happened over this weekend when we went to our family wilderness camping event this weekend down in New Jersey. We go down to the Pine Barrens, and I'll get more into that. But I had mentioned that I had made a hat with green and brown yarn that I had left over from prior projects. So it's nice to get these hats done and use up some stash yarn and leftovers. So I was a little nervous, as I had mentioned before in last week's episode, that I have my cats in here. So every now and then they'll come in, so let's see, yep. And of course, if I shut the door, they will scratch at the door. So you might see some cats being a little distracting in the background, and then there's of course Josie. So what was I saying? Oh, I typically am a person who likes to knit things. I love knitting things for people, but I typically like to have a specific request with specific colors and whatnot. So this was out of my comfort zone. I just knit this as a surprise, and I presented it to them. They turned 17, and it was green and brown, so it was very earth colors, and I thought, well, I'll just make it a surprise and hopefully they like it. And the reception went very well. They loved it, and they wore it for the morning that I saw them. So I think it went well. So typically I like to have gifts that are not a surprise, but it went fine. So the 2 hats, and I was able to give the hat, and it was all good. So finished objects, so I will move on to my works in progress, and I've been discussing this probably for the last couple episodes. I knit most recently, my cast on was the Gallus scarf by Amy Palco from the Meaningful Stitch, and I made a little bit of progress, not too much. So it's a parallelogram, and initially it was a triangle, and then I made another triangle, and these yarns are the yarns that I had naturally dyed, and so I figured it would be a good way to showcase the colors. This is with birch bark, and this is with madder root, and I will just use up the colors that I had used for the scarf. In the pattern, it is used with 5 different colors, but she gives us the freedom to do what we want with the colors and add however many colors we want. So as it's going to be kind of as I go along, when I want to stop. Because I do like my scarves nice and long. I do like to double them up and have them nice and cozy around my neck. So this is sort of my traveling work in progress on the needles. I always have it with me, so that way if I'm stuck in traffic, or I have to wait somewhere, or I am going to take it to do some social knitting. And I also will use this project as my hiking knitting companion. So when I go for my hikes, or when I'm just out wandering in the woods, I will take this with me so I can knit as I walk if the terrain is easy, and if I get up to the top and there's a nice view, I'll sit up there and hang out and knit. And if you've seen previous episodes, you'll see that I've taken it, in New Hampshire, and most recently on my trip with Corinne when we went to the Androscoggin Riverlands State Park. So that was fun. So this will be sort of a slow process knit. My big project that I have to diligently work on is the, and you've seen this if you've been here before, this is the deep winter coat, and it is a cable. It is going to be a cardigan. I have marked, let's see, this is my progress, and so I probably have an inch, so I have another probably 3 inches left on the body as far as this goes, and then I will have to pick up stitches up and around and make it kind of is like a folded over neck, and there's no buttons, but there is like a button band in the front, and then I have to knit the sleeves. So this is a well-written pattern. I would say it's probably more for an intermediate, because of the cables, and you have to work from three charts, but the way that the pattern is written, it is broken down into segments, so it doesn't seem overwhelming. And this is for my friend, and realistically, I know I said that I was to hope to get it done by the end of October. That is quickly coming upon us next week, and I don't think I'll get it done by Thanksgiving, so I'm hoping that this will be a Thanksgiving gift, and that a Christmas gift. And the way that the weather has been, it's going to be high 60s this week, so I'm thinking she may not really need it until January, because I'm pretty sure winter is definitely coming to Maine. I don't doubt that for a second, but it's just slow to get here. So those are my works in progress, and I will just chat a little bit about a sweater that you will see in the footage that I made for my husband. And I give him a hard time because I feel like you don't wear it enough, because I made it probably 10 years ago. It is from Prill Soho. It is a sweatshirt sweater, and that was the first sweater that I had ever knit, like 10 years ago. And it was knit with Bartlett yarn, and that's a Maine yarn, and it is super thick, and it is a really dense sweater. And he's just, he probably wears it once or twice, and he won't wear it when he's working out in the woods because he doesn't want to get it snagged, and he doesn't want to wear it when we're out by the campfires, and because he doesn't want an ember to get on it, of course, and so it sits in his closet. But he did bring it with him to our New Jersey camping weekend, so I got a picture. And he also is wearing the hat from the pattern that I just showed you, so very knit-worthy. So I was going to say that I knit that 10 years ago, Prill Soho, free pattern, and it was a easy beginner, very well written, instructed. It's a raglan, and you have different options as far as put in pockets like a regular hoodie sweatshirt, pockets in the front, and I can't remember if there was even an option for a hood, and I just opted for a crew sweater. And like I said, it was knit like 10 years ago, so Bartlett yarn, and I can't remember the needle size, but I think it was just whatever the pattern called for. So you'll see that in the footage, and I will talk a little bit about what I'm wearing. This is not something that I knit. This is from Crystal Seyfarth, and she is in Denmark. And she was featured on the Fruity Knitting podcast, and I just loved her patterns, and I think it was late night. And I thought I was ordering the kit to make this. This is Caledonia jacket in blue, and I thought I was buying the kit, and then lo and behold, when it showed up, it was already made. So it is a short jacket and with the sleeves, and then it has like a nice little feature here, so it's even advertised, like you can put like a little button or a little fastener here to hold this open for this feature to be shown off. It is like my favorite fall jacket right now. I love how it is like a short jacket, so I have a short torso, so it just, I believe, falls in the right place, and it's just cozy. And I love the fact that it's knit. Like, I was going to return it, but I think the cost to return it would have been more, and I thought, well, it was my birthday project a couple years ago, and I thought, well, it's already made, so I'll just keep it. So yeah, I will link her website and in the description box, and I looked at just recently to see if this kit was still available, and it is. I did not see in the ready-made like shop that this was available, so so I would be cautious, because there are like, there's the Danish language shopping website specific for people who are Danish and people who live in Denmark, and then there are the international and shoppers, and yeah, I don't know how I got it mixed up, but anyway, so I would be cautious. Make sure you're getting the kit if you want the kit, and it's in Kronos, so that was another thing that I had to convert. That was a little, it shouldn't have been confusing, but I guess at the time, late night, it was. So that is this, and that is pretty much for the knitting content this week. So moving away from the knitting, I am going to talk about my love for being outside and it was developed, and I gained confidence to just love what the wilderness and what nature has to provide, and to gain a great appreciation for the indigenous ways and methods in which they lived in harmony with the earth and the animals and plants, through the Tracker School. If you have heard of Tom Brown Jr., give me a shout out in the comments and just say, hey, yeah, I'd love to just acknowledge you as a fellow tracker. And I strongly suggest, if you haven't heard of Tom Brown Jr., definitely check out his books. He has field guides for plants, tracking, I guess tracking is a part of hunting, but like tracking medicinal plants, shelters. So basically anything that involves being outside. So he taught us as water, shelter, fire, food is the 4 tenets of survival. And you learn these things as an adult. There's adult programs in the Tracker School. You can go to trackerschool.com, and I will link these in the description box. So Tom Brown Jr. has written a bunch of books. You can see his stories about where he learned his skills from an Apache indigenous grandfather who made it his life mission to go around to the indigenous tribes throughout North and South America and compile their best ways of living with the earth. And basically he taught Tom, he has made this his life's passion, so much that it was his vision and mission to create a school for adults. And through that school for adults, then there were programs for children. And the 4E, and I will link that as well, has programs on primarily on the West Coast. Rick, the founder, and Tam are mostly on the West Coast, but they will come 3 times a year over to the Pine Barrens in New Jersey to host the spring family camp, summer family camp, and the fall family camp. And this is where families can come regardless of what their experience of the outdoors is. They can come and spend some time. I believe the age is 4 and up to teens, and they will divvy up the kids based on their age and pair them up with instructors, and they will do things age appropriate to outdoor activities. And it's really nice. They have a teen program where they really foster wilderness survival, wilderness confidence, and the kids learn teamwork, how to build shelters together, find food, make water, make fire. They teach them fire by friction methods, and we learn how to live as a village, as a community, when we are together. So the parents then are paired up, and we have activities for ourselves. So it's really nice. They have, it's a really nice, relaxed, because they realize that it is our vacation. And so it's not anything too hardcore. Like, they feed us, all of our needs are met, and they actually feed us really delicious food. I'm really surprised. The propane kitchen is run really well, really safe. They cater to dairy-free, gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian. They have foods even for the picky kids, so they'll always have something to offer for the kids who don't want to eat whatever it is that they're serving. And my favorite thing is that we all, it's like cafeteria style, and the kids will get their plates and utensils, and they are in charge of cleaning their own stuff. So as a mom, I think that's wonderful. I'm super excited to have this activity as a family for the teens, because it's the one thing that we all can just say, okay, this is what we're going to do. They all pack for themselves, they get in the car, and we're ready to go. Even though it's a long drive, when we get down there, we're so happy to be there, and it's just worth the drive. I have been going back for about a year now, and we have developed great friendships, and I've made some friends with the women, the moms, so I feel like it's a soul tribe with the moms, and the kids have made great friends, and I would just highly recommend it for anybody to check it out and see if it's something you can come for a long weekend, Memorial Day weekend. You can come for a week in August, or you can do a quick weekend in October, and just check it out. And I highly recommend it. It gives me a great opportunity for personal growth, and it gives me an opportunity to live in community with people who love the outdoors. And it's just really great to see the growth that the kids go through, and the confidence, especially now that I get to see some of the families come through and the kids are growing and learning, and their confidence is really awesome as far as the skills that they develop. And let's see, so some of the skills I'll just mention, like shelter building, foraging, plant identification, and working with knives, so creating like the bow drill kit for fire making, and so there's just little minor knife work and teamwork as far as getting the coal with the fire with the bow drill kit, and just building the fire structure and collecting the stuff off of the land. We play games like stalking, there's exercises for awareness, and so it's just really awesome. I can't say anything bad about it. It's really fun. Even when it was raining, I mean, we still had a great time. And the drive, it's, I guess, good for family time. And yeah, so 4E, they're on the East Coast and the West Coast. Rick and Tam do an amazing job with the kids, and you can really tell that they absolutely love what they do. And the instructors, Jamie is an amazing instructor. One time he was stuck with the adults and had to teach us, and we of course loved his method of teaching, because he's so used to teaching the kids, and so yeah, that's the 4E program. The Tracker School obviously is for adults, and you can check that out. There's like, I think 150 classes online, in person, classes that you can take. Tom is slowing down as far as the classes that he's teaching, because he's getting up there in age, but he's got great instructors that are taking over. And it's just a really wonderful place to visit. The footage that I will share with you doesn't really do it justice as far as the magic, and I think it's something that you feel in your heart when you get down there. There's definitely, like, it feels like a bubble. And for just the regular Joe Schmo, it's a place where you can bring your ATVs, your four-wheelers, and your dirt bikes, and just have a time going around on the on the trails. So it is it's a hidden gem in New Jersey. So yeah, we'll be there for Memorial Day weekend. So I hope if you are inspired to check it out and are truly interested and you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and I will happily help you out. So that is what really fostered my love of the outdoors and the kids. And I think that is the greatest joy that I have, is that it's really fostered a love of the outdoors, and a sense of appreciation for the outdoors and the kids. And it is a great place for Todd and I to bond and work on skills together. And yeah, like I said, great community building, meet great people, and feel like you have a sense of belonging in this family. So that's all I have to say about that. Leave any questions or comments, or if you have experienced this, in the comments. Thank you. And excuse my cat.